Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of my alterations series. In this video, I'm just going to be altering some more of my thrifted items and items that I had already owned. This video might feel a little bit disjointed, and that's simply because it took me a few weeks to actually continue filming with this video. I wasn't in my fullest energy, so I just want to apologize for that in advance. I actually overestimated how much I was going to be able to do in this video, so I really wanted to get through everything, but that was just simply not the case, which is fine. I'm just gonna do an episode 3 and kind of leave it where it's at. I'll be doing like a little try on as well. Without further ado, let's just get into the video. This is the first piece that I'll be working on. It's this jumpsuit that has a huge stain on it, so I'm basically just gonna cut it shorter so I can get rid of the stain. Next, I have this series of mini skirts that are all figure hugging, and I want to turn them into little bandeau tops. Yesterday didn't really go according to plan, so I am tackling these little top alterations again. Just realized that the celestial skirt thing is so badly made, in the sense that the side seams were like completely not on the side of the skirt. So I'm gonna try again today, just see how we go. I am simply not in my groove, and I'm very much trying to get into my groove. See, what am I doing? General kind of idea of where I'm gonna bring it in. Solidly think with a new shape, this could be one of my more worn items. I might cut the side seams open. I might actually do that, you know? Yeah, YOLO. Yeah, this will work. I have confidence. This is all the stuff that I'm planning to alter. So it's a lot, but some of them are simple. Some of them are a little bit more complicated. What I want to fucking show you was, look at this. I don't know if you can tell, but how is that a back of a skirt? Do you know what I mean? Can you see? It's just completely uneven. But it's okay, because we're going to salvage it. Motel rocks. We have a lot to answer for with this. Now I'm going to just pin the front and back together. I'm going to overlock the side seams. It's looking very wonky right now, but trust the process. Something I bought very long ago from someone I knew. This is a hope for the best kind of situation for sure. It'll fit. It's stretchy, right? So surely it'll be fine. That doesn't look too bad. Hope for the best. So spoiler alert, that worked, which is great, but the top and bottom hems keep rolling and it's really annoying me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fold it over like that and then stitch it down so that it doesn't roll anymore. On just another very random note, I was watching, okay, I need to concentrate. As I was saying, on another side note, I saw this one video and the guy made something and it was really cool, but he didn't backstitch on any of his seams, and I don't know, but as far as I know, backstitching is kind of important. Could be wrong, but that's just what's been drilled into my head. This is gonna look really bad. I hate the fabric. Oh my gosh, I'm honestly so relieved that I started with that one, because that was definitely the most frustrating thing. Even though it was so simple what I was doing, it was just so badly made initially, so it made it so much harder to fix. Okay, next I'm gonna do the exact same type thing, except with this, which I have tried to sell but no one is taking to it. Maybe I would wear it with a very layered kind of look in the summer, as like a going out kind of top. It's low-key tacky, but I also feel like maybe with the right styling. And then this little skirt that I also am going to turn into a little boob tube. I am absolutely so not in my groove this week. I don't know what is going on, but it's another day of sewing. First thing that I'm gonna do is literally the most simple. This shirt has got a sort of underlayer, I don't know if you can really tell, with an overlayer that kind of opens in the front, and I just think it will look so much better without the underlayer. So I'm just gonna simply cut that out. Here is the garment. As you can see, this is the top layer. It kind of has this fold over here, this underlayer, and we are going to cut the underlayer out. Because it's stitched on the side seams, I'm just going to cut as close to the side seam as possible, and then maybe I can even use this fabric for something else. And then we've gotten to the part where the bust kind of sits, so I'm just going to cut straight across. So no, this looks really fucking bad. Yeah, no, we need to unpick that. That just does not look good. Oh no, guys, it's literally ruining the fabric. Plan B, I'm just going to sew the underlayer together because it's actually opened up. I don't know what I'm doing, actually. Am I just leaving it like that? Guess so. I guess I'm leaving it like that. Oh my god. Okay, next I'm doing this top. It was really ill-shaped, but I'm feeling not very I don't know, I don't feel super energized is what I'm getting at. So I'm going to kind of guesstimate this one. The plan is that I'm just going to be removing some of the side seam to make it a more figure hugging fit. And then I was also thinking about maybe doing something to the sleeves, but we will see. Because I have already done quite a few of these like side seam alterations, I am going to guess a point on each end. Don't try this at home. You'll probably be doing measurement. I will be doing some measurement though. 76 minus 90. Sorry, 90 minus 76 is 14. So maybe 7 centimeters off each side. Sounds like a lot. Let's do 6 rather. Zigzag stitch for this one. This is an absolute YOLO at this point. Oh my god, you see there's not even a foot on this machine right now. Let the sewing gods be with me during this time of uncertainty. If this works, I'll be so surprised. One very lazy seam done. Just imagine this comes out perfectly and it's like a whole new top. Well, it might be a whole new top, but whether or not it comes out like a whole new wearable top, that is another question. But I'm hoping for the best. I really just am. But I think with sewing, that is probably the worst mindset you can go into it with. Never hope for the best because it'll always come out bad, but we'll see. Contrary to my extreme laziness, I am gonna have to try it on to just check that it worked before I cut it. I will literally laugh if it's perfect. Oh, did it work? Did it actually work? Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna cut out the excess fabric, and then I was thinking about doing something to the sleeves where I might cut them off and then create a little frill, but I don't know if it's gonna work so well with a stretchy fabric, so I might just leave the sleeves, but I'm actually really happy with that. Just circling back quickly to this purple top because I figured it out. I figured out how I can sew the underlayer down to the top because I don't think it's going to be very nice to have that flapping around. It might shift while I'm wearing it. So what I need to do is I need to pin it again in place and then sew in the front seam so that it doesn't go into the fabric and you can't actually really see the thread. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. I am gonna do that right now and then move on. Okay, so now very important, I actually have to sew it from this side. So it wasn't perfect, but it definitely worked, and it worked much better than obviously the previous way. You can't actually see the stitches there, so that's great. Now it won't flap around. This is a vintage dress that I thrifted around a year ago, and it was just too big, so I'm taking it in at the side seams. This little dress was way too big on the top and it kept falling down, so I am doing something very risky and just chopping off some of the fabric from the sleeves and basically creating a new size for the top of the sleeve. And here I am figuring out that I didn't take the armhole into account. So whoops, damage control time. This we want to make more of a high-waisted skirt, so I'm basically just going to take the side seam in slightly, and this is not the recommended way, but if it's just for you, you're the only one who's going to see it. And I've done it with my other pants and skirts in the past and then completely forgotten about the fact that I'd actually done it, because it's not that much of a thing, you know? I think my machine needs a service. It's not sounding very good right now. Maybe it needs oil. Tension feels super tight. What's going on here? I don't remember where you put the oil though. I think it's just somewhere in here. Look at that. That's completely not it. Let's try that again. Hopefully the oil was simply the problem. Feels better, that's for sure, but not perfect, so I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna do the other side and then try it on to see if I need to extend that down to the side seam as well. I'm going to do something highly unconventional, and because there is still bunching happening around the hip area, I'm just going to do a top stitch to about where my hip is. Whether or not this will work is a different story, but let's try that. Hope for the best. Surprisingly, that actually worked. I kind of see it as like a makeshift dart, so I mean you can't even see it, but I just darted down the side seams. But because there's such a chunky bit here and it's definitely still a bit bulky, I'm going to cut this open and then I'm just going to overlock that closed again just to remove some of that bulk, and then yeah, I think I'll just move on to the next skirt. I'm not going to show you the whole skirt because we'll do that at the end. Now that I have removed some of that extra bulk from the sides, I'm going to just top stitch down that bit of the waistband just to itself so that it doesn't kind of flap around. Then I think that's done, and then I'm going to move on to the next skirt. This is the one I'm a little bit more scared about because there's much more that I need to sew off here. Let's hope for the best. But it's definitely helping to have my stitch width increased because I do think that this machine needs a service. Hey, this is 100% cotton. I would have not thought that. That is all for today, my friends. We'll have to continue tomorrow. I do still have quite a few things to sew and alter. Then we'll do our try on. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I am such a noob. I've already filmed this and I was talking into this mic, but the little like connector bit wasn't even plugged in. So it was basically just a prop, but that just shows where my head is at. So basically the gist of what I was saying was that this video has been feeling like it's just taking me so long to get done, and I think I overestimated how many things I was going to try and fit into this video. But I think I've just accepted that the rest of it's rather going to be in another video, you know, episode 3, which is absolutely fine, and it's just going to be really chill. And I think I've just overthought this whole video so much, which is very much a mindset that sometimes I find myself falling into, is overthinking, trying to be like perfectionistic, and sometimes my energy is low, and that is a terrible combination for when you have a perfectionistic mindset. You don't feel like it's good enough, or like you're good enough, or like the whole thing's just boring. And I don't know about anyone else, but that means that I also struggle to continue with the project. So anyways, that was long, but that's my little, not excuse, but reason for the super delayedness and just like bit of disjointedness of this video. What I I also wanted to say was that I am just gonna reshape the one jumpsuit from the very beginning. I have to do it on my body because I noticed that a straight leg is just not right, but I also don't want to take more length off because the back will be too short, but the front currently is too long. So I'm gonna do that, and then we are gonna do the little try on and see how everything looks. Then we will wrap it up and continue in episode 3, which I think is very reasonable. This is the jumpsuit that I'm referring to. It's that like purpley gray one. I'm just gonna try it on now and see for length. This is what it looks like on. As you can see, it's just way too long in the kind of middle crotch area, so I just need to reshape it. I'm going to just kind of go for it and hope for the best. Because that was quite like a janky process, I'm just gonna lay it out on the floor and clean up the edges. Here's the first piece. I was actually going to sell it, but it had the stain, so I decided to cut it into this kind of like little romper sort of situation, and quite honestly I think it is much better. It feels transformed. I might have gone a little bit short in the front, I'm not sure. Do you know what? It's fine, because in the summer when it's blistering hot outside, this will be perfect. And I've just styled it with my little like crochet cover up. It kind of complements the length of the romper. What do you guys think? It is much improved, and I'm glad that I cut it. Next up is the series of little mini skirts that were super form-fitting that I have turned into bandeau tops. To be honest, I don't really know why I bought this initially in the first place. I will say that it is much better. It feels a lot less tacky than as a skirt, and I do like the color. I also wanted to style it with kimono type thing, something that I actually bought at the exact same time as the skirt from the same vintage shop. That's how that looks, and I think this is something that I would actually wear. I love the flowiness of this outfit, and I feel like the top adds a nice pop without feeling dominant. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about this. I'm sure it's going to be a mixed sort of opinion. Next up is the black one. This one is pretty much the exact same story as the previous one. Would layer it with this new little wrap top that I got. That's pretty much it. It fits really well, and I'm really happy that I could breathe new life into this. It used to be skirt, now top. Very easy, very simple alteration. And then the one that gave me more grief than I would like to admit. What I initially thought was going to be so straightforward just simply was not, but I am so happy with how it turned out, because this is definitely going to be one of my most worn pieces this spring summer. I already know it. Obviously I love the celestial print, and again these are just so easy for layering. And this is the little fairy top that I am so chuffed with. Also faced a few hurdles while working on this. I thought it was going to be as easy as removing bottom layer and like then it would be just done pretty much, but I didn't realize that the bra area would flap around, and I was just freaking out about it. And then I tried to stitch it in the wrong place and I almost snagged the fabric. It was just a bit of a roller coaster. Then I figured out that if I just stitch in the seam, then it would be like a hidden stitch. I think it just looks so much better without the layer. Here's the little dress that was way too big on the top area and was just flopping down. I did a bit of a crazy move and sliced the non-existent shoulder seam to kind of create a shoulder seam, and I actually thought that this was the one that I had messed up, and I low-key think I did mess it up slightly because I did not think about the fact that when I was sewing the shoulder seam to take the armhole into account, so the armhole got really small, and then I tried to do some weird stitching thing to like open it up while closing it at the same time. So all in all, very janky, but I don't think you can really tell. The goal was to make it fit, and it definitely fits now, so my unconventional method did work after all. Okay, moving on to the skirts. Here is the velvet skirt, which was kind of fitting more on a hip sort of situation, but that was just because it was a few sizes too big, so I really wanted to make it so that it fit as a high-waisted skirt. It was a bit tricky. I feel like there's still some bunchiness. I did these really strange and peculiar darts. Again, very unconventional sewing methods. It'll be interesting to see if you can kind of pick it up in the footage. I've obviously added this belt. I'll take the belt off as well just so you can kind of gauge. So that's pretty much the new fit of it. I don't know if it's super flattering. It's just a bit of a tricky shape to work with, but it's got quite a nice A-line silhouette. silhouette, and I just do much prefer it as a high-waisted piece. So fingers crossed that I do end up wearing it. Next up is my blue skirt, also one that was just slipping down and was quite uncomfortable, and I really like my skirts to at least kind of fit on my tummy area, like lower stomach area. I've actually already worn this one out. I just did a very simple take it in on the waistband kind of situation. And my velvet skirt that I got at a thrift market. I'm so pleased that I just got to this one because again, it was such a simple alteration, just taking in the side seam slightly because it was also just slipping down, you know, and it's not great when you're always kind of fiddling with your clothes. This one is perfection, and I love the length. This could arguably be my favorite skirt in my whole collection, and yeah, I'm just so happy and excited to be able to wear it with confidence. This is the last skirt of the selection that I altered. This one I overestimated the size when I initially chose it off Minga London. Obviously much improved, it fits now. It was also a very simple alteration, kind of this like cargo style skirt, but it was called the Morticia skirt, and I really liked the shape of it. I did change my boots for a more elevated boot because I think that the skirt calls for that. I would have to play around to figure out how I would style it, but it's going to be much easier now that it fits. All in all, a success. This is the final piece. It is the vintage maxi dress, which just gives the most stunning whimsy goth 90s sort of vibes. I think it's much improved. I might still need to reshape it slightly over on the side. I'm not too sure what's actually going on here. I'll assess the footage once I get a better glimpse of it. But I think all in all, the fit around the bodice is much better, much more snug. It's exactly how I wanted it. But I still want to keep a little bit of the volume at the bottom because I think that is the ideal silhouette and the silhouette that I envisioned for it. But I think all in all, it is much improved. I think she's so beautiful. Alright guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it wasn't too disjointed. Let me know which of the items you like the most. I definitely don't think these are all perfect, but hey, it's fine. We're not aiming for perfection. We're just aiming to make these items more wearable, basically just be able to put them out into the world again. I'd love to hear which one you thought was the most successful. If you did make it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you in the next episode. Watch this space because that will be upcoming in the next couple of weeks. I'm very excited just to get through everything. I'll see you in my next video. Have an awesome day. Bye.